I got to say this. I said this already with Ferris. I'm kind of repeating myself here, but I got to say this. So after he made that analogy to the state of democracy now to what it was in Germany in the 30s, and after he invoked the image of Nazis marching in the streets of Skokie, which is a very frightening image to people who remember that from back in like whatever it was, 1979, 80, 81. By the way, it was alluded to in the Blues Brothers.
Oh, the second time bringing this one up, huh? You brought it up last week.
Yeah,
hey, Jinsky, we love you. Please just hang tight with us.
Yeah, hang tight. The Blues Brothers. In the Blues Brothers, there's a scene with Nazis in Marquette Park in the south side of Chicago. And that was roughly around, that movie was made roughly around the time the Nazis were threatening to march in Skokie. So he makes that reference. Republicans denounce him for making that reference. And they accuse him of being anti-Semitic, which is so bizarre since he is Jewish. In the aftermath of that, Steve Bannon gives a speech to conservative group. Steve Bannon, who is sort of the ideological great master of MAGA, and gives a speech, and he closes that speech by giving the Hitler salute. I'm like, well, are you trying to prove Pritzker right? And David Ferris was saying that in his opinion, that's Steve Bannon's way showing his utter contempt for everybody who disagrees with him, and I'll do what I want to do. But I don't know, Republicans, MAGA, just a suggestion. If you don't want to give credence to Pritzker's notion that there is like a dangerous precedent that Trump may be following, you might not want to do the Nazi salute anymore. Just saying as a piece of advice.
Regardless, the governor's not afraid.
I'm not afraid.
See? All right, now let's get to the actual budget talk here. In his hour-long budget address, my God, these things are boring. Pritzker started by laying out his $55.2 billion proposal that funds schools and pension contribution, but limits spending. Pritzker also outlined proposals to lower prescription drug costs, cancel medical debt for Illinois residents, boost public school funding by the required $350 million, reduce the number of township governments, and hey, I like this one, ban cell phones and screens in classrooms. What do you think about that one, Ben?
Well, you know, that's interesting. I was just reading and thinking about that. I was going to ask you what you thought about that. You kind of like that one. Well, you have a kid. Dennis is a dad now, and so he may view the world differently than he did when he was young, Dr. D, back in the days. And when you get a kid, you have a different attitude about a lot of things. You become more, I don't know, conservative in some ways, not conservative politically so much. And you don't want to think that your kid is going to school and not paying attention. You know, you want to believe that your kid is paying attention with the teachers, like math class. You're not texting your friend Billy Bob about the dance or whatever they're texting about. And so I kind of was, you know, I'm reading the articles about the banning of phones, and he's not like, he wouldn't, it's like he's not going to say we're going to collect your phones when you come in the door. It's you're not allowed to use the phones while you're in a classroom. So part of me is like, man, one more thing a teacher's got to worry about, D. You know what I'm saying? It's hard enough being got 30 kids in the classroom, and now all of a sudden, Billy Bob, put that phone away. You know, sometimes from my days as a teacher, D, which were total disaster because I was really bad at it. So I would have kids in the classroom who would be, let's say, cheating on the spelling test. Like this one kid, he thought he was slick. He had the dick. I'm sorry, I'm having the memory, the flashback. He had the dictionary on the floor.
Hell yeah, that's a good move. That's good.
And I was a rookie teacher, student teacher, so I took it away from him. And then I thought about it later and go, what difference does it make? He's showing some initiative. The kid is like, he cares
you're
enough.
A bad teacher. Yeah, you're not good at this. What difference does it make?
I know. I was not meant to be a teacher. It was hard. Let me tell you something. Being a teacher is hard. Anybody, if you're like, have any claim of legitimacy and you want to be a legitimate teacher, it's hard. So you got to worry about Billy Bob with the dictionary out. So it's, I mean, one more thing for a teacher to do is take away the phones. Go ahead.
I mean, nowadays, if you see someone cheating like that with dictionary on the floor, it's like, oh, that's old school. That's cool. You know, way to, like, your phone is has all the answers you need.
No, the phone has every answer. You're right. So it's like, why learn anything? Oh, it's just on the phone. I'll be a complete idiot and just Google it, And so I'm all over the map with this one, D. I'm sorry. I'm just like, it's kind of a burdensome thing for the teacher. On the other hand, the kids aren't learning anything if they just look at stuff up on the internet. The brain is not developing in a way. They're not learning algebra. They're not learning how to spell sound words out. I don't know. Is that obsolete? You know what I'm saying, D? So, and my kids are all grown, so I don't have to worry about it. Although I have grandkids, so I got to worry about grandkids. I'm worried about your kid, So, all right, I'll stay. The flag blows this way. Yeah, outlaw those cell phones. By the way, and who am I? Last night, who am I to talk? Okay, and here's the hypocrite of me, D. Last night, I've already mentioned this in the David Fair Show, had a great get together with some old baby boomer friends. We were gathered around and we were sharing dinner together and we're chatting about this, that, and the other thing. D, don't tell anybody. But every now and then, like every 5 minutes, I snuck my cell phone out of my pocket and looked up the score of the Bulls game. Yes, I did it, D.
Coolest boomer in the house.
And then the guy next to me, Peter, a lot of love, Peter, love you dearly. I would say, because he was sitting next to me, he could see what I was doing. I go, all right, Peter, if you insist, I'll look up the Bulls score. He goes, I didn't even ask for it. Shut up, Peter. There we go. So anyway, who am I, D? Don't do like me, scholars, okay? Put your phones away. Don't look up Bulls scores.
All right, now let's hear a bit of Pritzker talking about the state budget on Wednesday.
I believe strongly that we must continue our firm commitment to building up the rainy day fund, new funding for public schools.
Actually, let's go ahead and stop. That's very boring. We're just going to move on, okay?
Wait a minute. Don't you want to hear more of the budget?
No, not at all. Not at all.
No one cares about the budget. And by the way, I'm going to absolve all of you people in the state of Illinois from even remotely feeling guilty about this, because the entire budget process is a freaking scam. Okay? So I'm just telling you, I've been saying that forever and writing that forever. It's a show. It's a production. They don't know if the budget's balanced. They're just projecting that it's balanced.
All right, well, let's listen to it, I guess.
Investing in economic growth and jobs and improving much needed services.
Huh? You say something?
But
what remains unclear?
Yes.
Mayor Schutz said it, all right? He mentioned it earlier at the top.
Yeah.
For some reason, Needle and Pritzker. How will the state close that $3.2 billion budget gap? Ben, what's the answer? How do you do it, budget guy? Come on.
You raise taxes.
Oh, God.
Yes, you raise taxes. That's how you do it. Or, here you go, drastic cuts. And I mean drastic cuts in services. The kind nobody really wants, by the way. So a combination thereof, that's how you, or you pretend it doesn't exist. And this is how they generally do it, D. They go, we have a $3.2 billion gap, but we project an influx of dollars from, I don't know, the Tax Dr. D Fund, which is a tax of podcasters, and which I just made up. Oh. And you just project a huge influx of money. We're projecting a huge influx of money on gambling revenues.
Kind of sounds like it's lying. Yeah, sounds like lying, right?
Here's my Larry David imitation, which is kind of similar to my Kenny Davis imitation. Would you call it lying?
Oh, and we have to mention too, talking about that potential run in 2028 for president, this budget address got the attention of national news. Pritzker's combined State of the State and budget address Wednesday was so powerful, in fact, that MSNBC's Rachel Maddow opened her show playing 3 minutes of it. Maddow called it inspirational.
Okay, so let me just say this about that. I can guarantee, I did not see it, D. I did not see what she said, but I guarantee you that the part of the budget address that she featured on her show was not the part where he talked about closing the $3 billion gap. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, it wasn't this part.
to working families and to the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
I believe strongly that we must continue our firm commitment to building up the rainy day fund.
Yeah, no rainy day fund from the
It was-
Maddox, I'm assuming.
Yeah, right. She was concentrating on the part of his budget speech, which came at the end, where he talked about the fragility of democracy and how if we didn't watch it, we were heading down the path that Germany headed down in the 1930s. That is the part that she concentrated on, and that's why I said it was a success in terms of a political statement. It was a success at putting him further in the spotlight. It was a success at further cementing his support among liberal Democrats, the kind of people who watch the Rachel Maddow show. So absolutely, he is running for president. And right now, I don't know who else I could say is definitively running for president in the Democratic side, D, right at this time. I mean, I know there's names that are kicked around, but I don't see anybody as openly running for president as much as JB Pritzker is. Okay. That's why I say he's President Pritzker.
I like him as a candidate. I think it'd be awesome. I just really feel like he's putting himself in a lane a little early. Rachel Maddow not winning over those swing voters. You know what I mean? So it's kind of worried at the moment.
Yeah. Well, JB, I know you're a listener of this show, and you take very seriously the advice that I give you and that Dr. D gives you. And I'm sure he's going to proceed anyway, D.
Wait, you listening?
Yeah, he's listening.
Oh my God.
But,
sorry about that buffet joke earlier.
Yeah. I try to shield him, JB. I try to. No, don't go down there. But no, he had to go down there. Okay.
I'm not afraid.
Oh, he's not afraid. So
He's
it's okay.
not afraid. I tried to stop him. I tried.
And if you need even more proof that this guy is running for president, a new poll was released this week. A new poll paid for by the governor himself, and a new poll showing that Illinois voters strongly disapprove of the president of these United States. The following comes from the Chicago Sun-Times. There are many annoying paywalls. And Tina Sfondelis. Ben, where did all these paywalls come from the Sun-Times?
I don't know, but the Sun-Times, you've lost your mind with those paywalls. Oh my God. And then they have it's Bright One. You know I love you. I subscribe to you, D. I'll prove it one more time. There you go. Okay. Front page new. Oh, D, I have to share this with you. I'm sorry. I know we're on a tangent here, but I have to share this with you. So back in the day, Dennis and I would do this thing. We would contrast Tribune headlines to Sun-Times headlines. Okay. Yeah. And he was more of a Tribune guy because they were just totally boring. And I was more of a Sun-Times guy because they try to liven them up with puns.
You got some headlines for us?
Yes. Here we go. You ready?
Yes. Let's hear it.
Okay. So here's the headline in my beloved Bright One, home delivered as always, no paywall. I already paid for it. But even though I subscribe to the Sun-Times, I get the same paywalls. Sun-Times, I subscribe. Okay, stop throwing me paywalls. All right, here we go.
Yeah, exactly. I subscribe too. Why am I getting these?
I know. They're insane. The Sun-Times is insane. And I'll go one step further, D. I know we're in a tangent within a tangent within a tangent. But follow me on this. The Bright One and WBEZ are owned by the same combine. If you, and they do articles, joint articles, a lot of times like Sarah Carpenter or Issa do a joint story together about the Board of Education. If you look the story up on NPR, they give you the story without a paywall.
Yeah.
It's easy to read. It's easy to follow. It's easy to send to somebody else. If you look it up on my beloved Bright One, home delivered every day, the same freaking story with a paywall. I already subscribed, Bright One. I think the Bright One kind of wants to go out of business, the people who are running it. Just saying it.
I don't know many things, but I definitely know how to not get back on the Sun-Times. I know that. And that's with this talk that we're having.
All right. Yeah, that's true. All right, here we go. Here's the headline in the Bright One. Should classrooms be no phone zones? And then the subhead. While many agree that Pritzker's plan to make all Illinois public and charter school classes largely phone-free will reduce distractions, some parents and students have their hang-ups.
Sun-Times.
Bright One, come on!
What are you doing?
Come on, Bright One.
I said it years ago. Guys, with these puns, You get trapped in a corner where he's got to come up with a pun every day, and you're still doing it.
It's like
Stick to basics. Stick to boring. Be like the Tribune. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now you were asking about the poll. Now, how about that? That was good.
Well, I haven't even mentioned the poll yet. So let's talk about this poll.
Okay. All right.
Like I said, the following comes from the Chicago Sun-Times and Tina Sfondella. So that means, we're leaving Paris. Ben, hang on. Back to Chicago. Holy crap, it's cold.
I love the Paris to Paris joke. I think we'll keep continuing that for the next until the end of the show, D. Until the end of the show.
A new Illinois poll commissioned by Democratic Governor JB Pritzker finds Donald Trump and his cost-cutting czar, Elon Musk's early administration actions aren't exactly popular. A global strategy group poll of 800. Way to go. The last poll we read was 798. Guys, come on.
They found 2 other people.
Yeah. They polled a group of 800 likely 2026 voters, and they conducted this February 5th until February 9th. They found more than 50% of those surveyed called Trump's actions extremely concerning. Now, let's learn a little bit about the poll before we get into it here, because it turns out in 2025, literally all polls are trash. But you can actually learn a little more, by looking into the poll and seeing the questions they ask and so forth. So Global Strategy Group conducted a survey, like we said, of 800 likely voters. Where do these voters live? Not sure. Doesn't say. But we do have a well-worded sentence saying that care has been taken to ensure the geographic, political, and demographic divisions of the population of likely voters are properly represented. Well, thank God they said that, Ben.
Yeah.
I feel fine now. Translation. Right. Go ahead.
I have a lot to say about this poll. Number one.
We haven't read the results yet. Would you want to read the results?
Go ahead. I'll let you read the results and then I'll riff. Go ahead.
All right. Let's focus, Ben. Focus. All right.
For 10 trivia points, who are you imitating? Go.
Oh, that's Bruce Rauner.
Very good. And who was he saying to?
Amanda Zernecki?
Damn. Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, your dork is rubbed off on me a little bit. Oh, there's got to be a better way to say that. Okay.
I don't know.
Here we go. All right.
Okay, yeah.
First question. Do you view President Donald Trump favorably?
No.
Somewhat. Okay, not you. We're talking about. Let's read the first question again. First question. Do you view President Donald Trump favorably, somewhat unfavorably, or very unfavorably? The results: 56% of potential voters polled view Trump unfavorably, including 49% who held unfavorable opinions, leaving 7% somewhat unfavorably. Ben, your thoughts?
Well, so then wait, I'm not good at math, because I was on my cell phone, which we didn't have back in the day. I was doing the equivalent of paying attention to my cell phone while math was going on. So what percent view him favorably, according to this poll?
Favorably.
Yeah. I think it's 36% or something like that.
It's 56% potential voters unfavorable, including 49% who held very unfavorable opinions, leaving 7% somewhat unfavorably.
Yeah, they don't.
Let me look here. I'll check it and see.
All right. This whole setup here.
42 for Donald Trump.
Okay, favorable, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So this poll, in my humble opinion, is good news for Donnie, and I'll tell you why I feel that way. Wait, I feel that it's good news for Donnie because if you take a look, as I did extensive research and preparation for this particular conversation. If you take a look at what Donnie got in the state of Illinois in the terms of the percentage of vote, in 2016, when he was running against Hillary Clinton, he got approximately 38.3% of the vote. In 2020, when he was running against Joe Biden, he got approximately 40% of the vote. In the last election, 2024, when he was running against Kamala Harris, he got 43.5% of the vote. All right, he went from 38% of the vote to 43%. So his popularity went up. Okay, all right, at least in terms of people who voted for him. Now, I know what you're going to say. I know exactly how your brain works. And as astute student of Illinois politics, you're going to go, Ben, what you're overlooking is that in 2016, when he ran against Hillary Clinton, there was a relatively popular libertarian candidate named Gary Johnson on the ballot who took 4% of the vote. So, Ben, if you're going to be accurate, you should add that 4% to Donald Trump's 38%. And I say, you're right, Dennis. You convinced me.
How'd you know I was going to say that?
Because if I could reach your mind low. So basically, he's at 42% in the Illinois that likes him, and he's 42% in this poll. And this is in the face of everything all the lunacy he's done in the first month.